Okay, so they're all just like, they just
Yeah,
happen.
now that they're gone, I have one left, and we're going a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm not picking up any. I'm just nurturing new clients. I'm not really, going out
Okay,
with them. Yeah. So I
nice.
hope they don't get the wrong impression that I'm still wheeling and dealing and getting like a lot. I told that. He goes, no, I'll make sure they know that. That's okay. Here you go. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
he should be here any second.
Is everybody else on, or do you have waiting to get them in, right?
No, they just come in as the time starts to kind of pour in. They're all guests, so they don't have cameras on. They just kind of watch and listen, and then ask questions and kind of go from there.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah. I should have got more water, but now it's too late. 57 participants. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm like on Zoom on my phone and on my computer because I always seem to have weird issues. So trying it out differently this time. See how that works. We do.
Yeah.
We're all doing. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Peppy.
Who are those chats? Should I be looking at those chats?
Yeah, it's just some people are asking some questions. Lena is asking if you're using the lead generation with AgentLocator right now. Is that how you're generating leads?
For yeah, all through Google Ads and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah. How's it like working from home?
I always work from home.
Oh, you do?
So I actually live in Western Canada. So I live in Kelowna, BC. So I've always worked from home. It's just the different dynamic of having everyone at home with me.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's different.
I had to come to the office today just to get out of the home so you wouldn't have screaming kids in the background.
Yeah, well, exactly, right? It's they don't necessarily they don't cooperate. They always want to talk when you don't want them to talk. But when you don't care if they're making noise, they're quiet.
Yeah.
It's it's like Murphy's Law or something. And oh, Addo is late. This is not normally him. He's usually here right on time. So I'm just streaming to our Facebook group right now.
Adol tells me there'll be 13 people on the call. That's what he told me.
There's not going to be anyone there. Don't
There'll be
worry.
nobody there. Most people will look at it afterwards. They're not going to come on live, you know.
Yeah, we've got 96 people in here anticipating. Let me just see where Addo is.
Wow.
Here. Let me just. I had to guess. You see, there's 5 packs. Oh, he's coming. He's coming. He says.
Oh, he's coming.
He's coming. Thank you, everyone, for being so patient here with us. So while we're waiting, Fatima is asking what is going on here? What your advice would be to a new sales rep?
To a new sales rep?
Mm-hmm.
What I tell new sales reps all the time is that there's, you know, to start off, there's 2 ways you can do it. And it's either you got to start spending some money and trying to get some online leads and working and nourishing those, or you got to get out there and door knock or cold call. There's no other ways. You just can't sit back and wait for the phone to ring, basically.
Awesome. Sorry for being late there, guys. Really apologize. Hang on a quick second. Yeah, good stuff.
I want to kill you for doing this. You told me to be 13 people on this call. There's 118 there.
Yeah, I know. From a perspective of, I think there's going to be people that are coming on because they want to hear what internet leads are like in the general sense, and they want to see us. And you know, we've been doing this every Tuesday and Thursday as well. So,
awesome.
yeah, no, I really appreciate you coming on.
No
I just want to actually get set up here for a quick second. I know, Crystal, have we set this up on Facebook as well?
Yeah, it is on Facebook just now.
Awesome. Awesome. Give me a second. All right, perfect.
What's that? What happened?
Looks like we lost Alfred there. Alfred, I think
I'm back. Wait.
No, you're here, but it's okay. I think your camera just went off there for a bit, so maybe that's okay.
Well, is it you that did that or me?
I think it just by itself went off, but it's okay. We see your really nice, beautiful picture there as well.
No, I could put my camera on. I'm okay with that. If you could fix it, or else no worries. I'm okay with that. Either way.
Oh, great, awesome.
Can you fix it?
I don't know. Let's see.
I think I might be able to. It's going to send you a prompt. There you go.
Awesome.
Perfect.
You do have a beautiful background there. What picture is that, Alfred?
Oh, God. Yeah, this is a picture. I used to own an art gallery before I got into real estate, and that's one that I had. Yeah, I loved it, so it was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Good stuff. All right, so an intro to everybody who's joining us right now. Alfred is an agent who works with Royal Page, your realty community. Alfred, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, how long you've been in real estate now? Like, how many years? It's been a few years, I think.
Oh, right? Yeah, I got licensed in 2011 and started practicing early 2012.
Okay.
And it's so I've been an agent locator guy since day one.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So it's been long enough now. Now, guys, today's topic is not going to be about door knocking. It's not going to be about cold calling. We want to talk about internet lead generation, and we want to give you guys an idea of what internet leads are like in a general sense. And then also what internet leads have been like over the last little while since the pandemic started, to give you guys some kind of sense on, what can you expect from an internet lead? So just so you know, an internet lead is not really a direct cold call. The best way that I can explain internet leads is that they have an interest in looking to buy a property. We just don't know when. Because if you can imagine an internet lead right now off of Google, they've gone to Google and searched for, let's say, homes for sale in whatever area they're looking for. And they've gone onto your site, and on your site end up registering because they have to register in order for them to continue browsing through listings. So again, that lead that comes in is not necessarily saying, picking up their hand, hey, Alfred, give me a call, I want to buy a property. They're registering because they have to, but at least we know that they have an intent that looking for properties. Now that intent could be curiosity. It could be that they truly want to buy in the next little while. It could be, when you look at most of the internet leads in a general sense, though, most of them are at the very beginning stage of the buying process. If you really think about it, what the heck is somebody going on Google searching for homes for sale for whatever area? Typically, it's individuals who are at the very beginning stage of that process looking to buy something, or really even maybe curious about what's happening in the market. So what I'd love to do, Alfred, is kind of ask you some questions.
Shoot. Yeah.
I know that in 2020 so far, you've done 10 deals. Those deals were solidified prior to the pandemic. You also have some clients that you are taking out to show properties, and there's certain things that you're taking as precautionary measures to ensure the safety of you, as well as the client, as well as the properties that you're visiting. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then talk, we'll get some questions from clients as well, and we'll get to answer them. For those of you that want to ask questions, the best thing to do would be click on the Q&A on the Zoom chat, and then ask your question there, because we'll be able to see it under the Q&A. It's going to be a lot easier that way. So the first question that I have for you, Alfred, is going to be, in a general sense, when it comes to the leads you're getting right now, what have they been like? So if we're talking like the month of April, we're in the 23rd of April. Are you getting more leads now, less leads, and what are they like to communicate with when you're actually talking to them?
Well, I'm getting more leads now than I've ever gotten in any period since I've been doing online leads. And my budget hasn't changed. It's been the same. But what's happening is most likely that, the cost, there's two reasons, I think, is the cost per click has dropped. So it's giving more people are clicking with the same amount of budget, so I'm getting more leads. And two, which I think is the most important reason, is I think people just want to talk to someone new that's not in their family, right? Like they just want to be able to, oh my God, I'm going to talk to someone now. That's not my wife. That's not my child, right? Because they've been in self-isolation, that they just need to talk to someone. So, and they're talking about real estate, which is never a bad thing. Yeah. So
that's an interesting observation, is that, the fact that we've been spending, and we have to understand, we are working. So we may be communicating with other people more often, but for the last 2-3 weeks, the people that are at home that are really not going out, they've been communicating with their friends and family that are very close, and really outside of that, they haven't had many communications.
Right.
Now, they have an interest in real estate because they've gone onto a website on Google to search for a home for sale, and then they end up talking to Alfred, which is, a real estate agent, so they can create a little bit of different perspective.
I lost you again. I don't know where you went. Hold on, I can't see my screen.
Can you see us now?
I'm gonna go back. There you are. Okay, you're back.
Yeah, no worries. So now, when it comes to the actual the communication, so you're saying it's a good conversation. Like what have they been like when you're really talking to them? What kind of questions are they asking? Are these people going to buy right now, or are they buying later? And what's really been the
most of the questions when I get people see that the process comes in, it's the same like it's always been. So an email comes in that I got a lead, right? So I follow up with them. I give them a quick call. If they answer, fantastic. If they don't, it's an email. And then a follow-up call later on. But if I grab them on the phone and they're answering, we're chatting. And at that point, that's when you screen them normally, like you would. You'd find out if they're qualified and all sorts. If all that meets and all that's good, next they start. Now we're talking more, and they're going on and they're talking about the market. They're saying, the question they have for me the most is, what do you think about the market? Is the market, is it going to crash? And the number one question is, believe it or not, is, can I get a deal at this time? You know,
Oh
it's
wow.
like, can I get a deal? Can I
Yeah.
get a deal?
Right.
And, you know, I don't have a crystal ball, but it's like you try and tell people that, you know, the market, the price hasn't dropped much, maybe 1%. At the end of the day, like if you really need to buy, great. If not, I'd suggest waiting a little bit, and you nurture them, and you
Right.
continue to nurture these kinds of people.
And being very honest with them. I mean, I love the fact that you're saying to them that, you know, if you have to buy right now, you can buy right now. But if you can wait, then it makes more sense to wait because of the fact that you really don't have that crystal ball. You really don't know what's going to happen to the market, and you know, so I really love that honesty with them, and that it's not, you know, forcing anybody to really buy. It's just maybe giving them the right information, and that actually creates a better connection, in the immediate connection, because of the fact that you're being truthful to them, and they feel that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I really really admire that. Now we actually have some questions from clients. I know I had some questions kind of lined up, but I think the clients' questions are actually really good as well. How do I? Okay, so I just received my license. Can you actually see the Q&A, Alfred? If you click on Q&A,
If I click
you
it,
should.
let me click it here.
Yeah, if you click Q&A, you should be able to see it that way. Sometimes it's easier for you to read it as well, but I will read it out to everybody so
Well,
everybody's hearing
it's
it.
really small on my screen because I'm working off my laptop with the webcam. It's not on my big screen.
No
So
worries.
I gotta like, so I'd rather you, can you read them
Yeah,
to
I'll
me?
read it out for sure because I want to tell everybody the question as well. So Anthony Bertucci, I hope that I'm pronouncing the names right. I'm usually really bad at it. So he's asking, I just received my license. Everyone is scared. How do I improve my chances of closing a sale?
Huh. It's a tough time. You picked probably one of the hardest times to get into the market, and it's not your fault. No one saw this coming. Again, it's all about being honest and being sincere. And I know that, you know, you need to make that first commission check. You need to make that first sale. But the most important thing I can say you can do right now is just be truthful and be honest and nurture everybody that you get and tell them about the situation. You know, give them information. Tell them that everything's going to be okay and that the market's gonna, you know, we're gonna get back there. My prediction is by June we'll be slamming, right? Like we will like that's.
Right.
You know, again, no crystal ball, but that's from what I've been hearing or what I've been reading. That's what we're looking at, right? The spring
Yeah.
market's
So
coming, but it's coming late.
yeah, as Alfred mentioned in that perspective, I mean, really tough time to get into it, but at the same time, the relationships that you create now with these individuals are going to be incredible, and these are the relationships that are going to allow you to actually do a lot of deals after all this is over. Because I mean, let's not forget that people that want to buy, that wanted to buy a few months ago, will still want to buy if the market falls, and even if it doesn't fall and it stays the same, they're still going to want to buy because they wanted to buy anyway. Just
Yeah.
before that, and there's a lot of people that have been sitting on the sideline. So it's unfortunate that you can't really push them into a sale right now because it is exactly that. They are scared, but it create that relationship so that you could potentially have you know, a connection and a sale down the road. From Jonathan Paulson, question is, what is your monthly budget?
Okay. This whole thing started when I increased my budget, and I used to be that AgentLocator guy who did a lot of sphere and a lot of referrals. And I didn't really do much web. I did web since the beginning, but my budget wasn't very strong. My budget was
What was your budget at that time?
It was about $300 a month, which,
Okay.
you know, at the end of the day on Google Ads, it's not much.
Yeah.
I increased that to 1,000, and it's literally giving me a deal a month because that's what the numbers are telling me. I can speak about that, right? Like it's basically there's actual statistics out there that show that is it $1,017 you spend is one lead, Ado, or?
It really depends. So what typically happens when we look at the conversion rates of internet leads, the longer you're on it, the more or the less it's going to cost you per deal. So what I mean by that is when you get into internet lead generation for the very first year, let's say you convert at 1%. So meaning that out of 100 leads you get, you're going to get that one deal. So if the cost per lead is $10 a lead, then it means $1,000 is 100 leads. It's going to cost you one transaction for $1,000. That's like what you're seeing right now, for example.
Yeah.
However, what happens is when you get into your second year of lead generation, you're still going to generate those 100 leads a month. Let's say that you're generating. However, you also have leads from your previous year. So you should convert at least 1% of those leads that you got that year, but also at least 0.5% of the leads you got from the previous year, which means that you're reducing your cost for acquisition because you're not having to repay again for the leads you got for the first year. Those are leads you already have. You just got to follow up with them to get that conversion. So that's that transition. So now when you look at how many years does that transition go, we've had clients now for 9 years and they're converting leads that they got 8 years ago. So you're not going to, it's not a huge percent, but there's still people that are really wanting to buy as long as you follow up with them and create that relationship. So that's the best way that I can explain it. So, and it's hard to envision. Yeah, go ahead, Alfred.
That's a good point, because like from the 10 that you talked about, I think you mentioned it in the little bio there.
Yeah.
Even though I'm spending 1,000, I did 4 of those 10 were web leads, and it's not because they just all came last month. They basically they were in my pipeline, right? So.
Yeah, and that's you're building up that pipeline. The longer you're on that internet lead generation, the longer you build that pipeline, and just follow up with your leads. Our system makes it so easy. It is ridiculous. I mean, I'll show you guys an example just so you can get a sense of. I'm going to log into an account and I'll share my screen for a quick second, just to give you an idea. Let's do share here. I need to hide the leads. Okay, so hide the info. Share. You guys should be able to see my screen now.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is an account that has 5,783 leads inside of it. So what we can do with our system is I want to say, show me all the leads that have been recently active, meaning that these are leads that have gone back to your website to look at listings. And every day our system, when new listings come out, every day our system sends them those listings to their inbox, getting them back to your website. So I'm going to click on activity and say sort by last activity and show me the most recent first. So here is, this lead was active 2 minutes ago. They looked at 91 properties so far. This lead was active 9 minutes ago, 9 minutes ago. Now, if we look at this lead has been in the system since December 9th of 2018. Here's a lead that's been in the system from June 18th, 2017. So again, continuously coming back to the website because our system brings them back to the website. So that's an important thing to note, that your older leads will turn into a transaction. Just keep talking to them and then keep checking what it is that they're looking at so you can have a conversation with them about it. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen there so we can go back to our camera. How do I stop share? Okay, now we can see each other again. Okay, so we've answered a question on the budget, answered live. Pepe, we have a question. I'm trying to call my leads. Don't know what you mean by that, Pepe. Maybe if you can reiterate your question, we can help try to answer it. What is your monthly spending on all these?
There's several portions of it.
Oh, there's several portions of that question?
It's broken down into 3. But there's 2 questions that kind of go hand in hand with that. So one is asking you, Alfred, when you are calling your leads, what's your success? Like, what do you say that ratio is of the people you actually speak to versus the people that never pick up? Because that's what Pepe is she's calling, but no one seems to answer. But you're having great conversations. So what do you think the percentage is on that?
It's not much, but it's still there. So from the 100 leads, I would say I actually get to talk to about maybe like, I'm not talking to just answer the phone. I'm talking, we start talking about real estate and they're interested in selling. I probably book about 7 appointments a month with the 100. Of the 7, I'm not closing all 7, but they're in my pipeline. They become what I call right now during the COVID crisis, where they're called an interested buyer, because they've registered, they've spoken to me, and they're going through they're saying all the right things. So
they're interested enough to have an actual valid, not a conversation where it's like a quick conversation. They're having a valid conversation from that perspective, right? Okay, that's so out of 100, so 7% currently are really good conversations. Obviously, you're not closing in 7%. Remember, we talked about a 1% closing ratio, so that if you can close 1 out of those 7 in that same year that you're in, it'll be essentially the same what Alfred is doing, 1 deal a month out of the internet leads that he's getting. So Pepe, I hope that answers your question. So we'll mark some of those as answered. this is really another question. What's your monthly budget on lead generation? Is it through Facebook or Google? So Alfred is currently doing primarily Google. That's where most of his leads are coming. We are doing some Facebook stuff for him, but it is primarily Google. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, for those that are wondering whether it would be good to do Facebook or Google first. If you're doing actual lead generation, where let's say you have a limited budget to spend and you want to generate leads that are going to really help you convert them into deals, you're better off currently spending that money on Google than Facebook, primarily because of intent. So what do I mean by intent? By intent, I mean we have on Google, which is search, we have people that are searching for homes for sale in a given area. They're looking for a home for sale. Now, do we know they're going to buy right away? No, we don't know they're going to buy right away, but we know that they have an intent that they're actually searching for a home. Now, on Facebook, we have curiosity because we're not advertising to people on Facebook that are searching for a home for sale. We're advertising to the general community in an area with an ad to get them to respond and react to get a list of properties for sale. Right? So we have curiosity compared to intent, and that's where sometimes the difference is. Now, your cost per lead on Facebook is going to be lower, but the quality of lead in a general sense is going to be a little bit higher in Google because of that intent. So I hope that answers your question. We do both Facebook and Google, and we typically tell a client, once you've capped out your Google, your search ad spend, you should then move towards Facebook so that you can generate leads because you've really capped out how much you're spending on one side. So I hope that answers the question. This was a question by Dina Akalov, answered live. And anonymous attendees. So we allow anonymous attendees to come on, Crystal. we shouldn't have allowing.
Well, I think it's just because they don't want to put their name. I don't know. I don't know why
them to put your name.
Putting their name in. Yeah, I'm not too sure how.
They can put the name, first name anonymous, second name attendee.
Yes, that is that's true. The question by this anonymous attendee is, what company are you using for lead generation?
For lead generation, well, it's you guys. It's AgentLocator.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they don't know that this is an AgentLocator chat. It's an AgentLocator webinar. We do it twice a week, but he uses AgentLocator as his lead gen company. So I hope that answers your question. All right, so next up, Jonathan Paulson. Also, what market are you in? So what market are you in currently, Alfred?
In the Vaughan market, but that doesn't mean I'm only working the Vaughan market. My home base is Vaughan. I do a lot of my farming for my sales in Vaughan, but in buyers, if they're qualified, I'll take them around where I need to go to make that deal. Like I sold, of the 10 this year, I sold one in Angus, one in Alliston. I have a deal from Pickering, one from Toronto. I have a listing in Milton. So they're all over. You can see they're all over the place, but right. It's still a commission check, right?
Of course. So for those that are when it comes to internet lead generation, what it really ends up happening is you could advertise that you're looking for leads in Toronto, let's say. Yeah. And when somebody's searching for a home for sale in Toronto, their Toronto might be Scarborough. Their Toronto might be Brampton. Their Toronto might be Mississauga. Alfred, you seem like you want to say something.
Yeah, what I've noticed most is if I'm advertising for Toronto and I'm saying, they start off by saying Toronto, and then they give me with their budget information and what it is, Toronto's just not going to happen for you. So what happens normally at this point is if you still want to keep them on as a client, you have to make that decision. And the decision is normally you get in a car and you drive until the budget that you have, you can find a home within that budget, right? Sometimes if they're too far at that point and I've qualified them and I know that they're really hot, I won't be afraid to refer it out to an agent of that area. Like I'm not going to touch Hamilton. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go to Whitby's almost like cutting it for me. Like Ajax, Pickering, Whitby is a little bit up there, right? Or Oshawa or something like that. So
for sure. Awesome. Appreciate that. Bikram Buttar question. Nowadays, when you have a lead and try to follow up by calling, most of the lead, they don't pick up the call right away. What's the best way to follow up? So the question really, when I sum it up, is when you're calling most of your leads, they're not picking up right away. How are you following up with those? So before we answer that question, I just want to actually go back to the point where Alfred talked about out of 100 leads that he gets, 7 are good conversations.
Yeah.
So whether you get to that good conversation through the first phone call, what would actually be the ratio? Do you know how many phone calls, those 7 conversations that you had that are really good, did they happen from the first call, or did they happen for like the 3rd, 2nd, 4th, 5th call?
Majority happened from the first call, because if it's not happening from the first call, they're not interested, right?
Right.
You nurture them, you continue to call them a few times. After that, I just give up on them. If they haven't answered my email, if they haven't replied to any of my texts, if they haven't picked up any of my calls, they're done. I'm not going to waste my time. There's just too many things coming in, right? So
Makes sense. When you have too many leads coming in, the follow-up process may be too tedious for you to follow up with multiple times. The general answer to this question should be that you should be making at least 5 attempts to actually contact a lead before you really give up on the lead. But again, if you have too many leads coming in, again, it's better to concentrate. The idea is get through the leads as fast as you can to get to the few that are actually good.
Yeah.
And if you're spending a ton of time calling people that don't want to talk to you, you don't have the time to call the people that really want to talk to you. So, but if you have the time, if your budgets are lower, then you should be spending that time to call these leads and follow up with them properly. So 5 times before you give up. Our system has SMS as well, so shoot them an SMS message to try to get them to communicate. And also remember, even when you keep them in the system, even if you don't communicate with them, the system will continue sending them listings on a daily basis, and they actually have a chance to contact you back from the actual listing. So that's another key thing.
And that's one thing that when you guys put that in there, that I found that incredible, because an email, people get so much. They get so much spam, so much, they just don't reply. A call, they see a number they don't know, they won't answer it. Or they'll say, don't call me at this time. But a text message, people, it's like a drug. People just want to respond to that text message, right? Like they love texting. So it's a great way to get in the door,
Awesome. That's this is
So Alfred, would it be safe to assume that you don't do any kind of email campaigns or email follow-ups with these leads? It's just strictly calling them and letting them get the listings, or?
AgentLocator sets up an automatic campaign in a 7-day trial as soon as they register, so they get emails that are automatic. If I'm lucky enough to get through to them and communicate with them on our own, I stop that right away, because I don't want me having a conversation, them changing their criteria, them doing, and then still getting these random emails.
Right.
So that's when I set up a task and I follow up with them on my own, and I stop the campaign.
So just as a really interesting part where we do have an automatic mechanism that has the ability to automatically stop your campaign. So let's say if you have that 7-day campaign, as soon as that lead goes into that made contact pipeline, it actually automatically stops the campaign coming below that, so that it doesn't send the messages by mistake. And that's something that we can automate for you as well, Alfred. Not sure if
I didn't know that. I stop it on my own. It's not just an extra.
No, it has the ability. There's stopping clauses. The system actually was set up. I'll show another quick example here, just so that some of these guys that are on the platform, or some of the guys that are, whether you're a existing client or not, you may not know this. I'll share my screen real quick again to show you what I mean. So this is one of the built into our platform, an automatic assignment campaign. So that means when a lead comes in, this is automatically assigned to the lead. So within 5 minutes of the lead coming in, the system sends out this SMS message. It'll say good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever the case is. Thanks so much, blah, blah, blah. Now, if a lead was to respond to this SMS message, or if the lead calls you on your SMS number, our system automatically stops the next message from going out. So the next message goes out 1 day after, and it's just checking SMS saying, hey, John, I sent you some property listings in your email. Is your email blah, blah, blah. Now, we don't want that message going out because I've actually had a conversation. Right. So what happens here is that if the lead is in that main contact pipeline, it will not send the rest of those messages. So that's something that is good for everybody to know. All right, so we got lots of questions. I don't want to take a ton of your time. Alfred, I'll go through more of these. So another question by the anonymous. I don't know if this is the same anonymous or different anonymous. What are you where are you advertising online? So it's Google primarily. It's Google Ads. So Google Ads are, if you go to Google and search for homes for sale in whatever area, that's where advertising on Google, and that's where the leads are mostly coming from. What's a good, so Ninara Sada, what's a good website for lead generation? How much does it cost to get real leads? Agent Locator. So let me here. I'll go on. I'll just share my screen one more time for a quick second. You guys are on the Agent Locator webinar, and we really got to do a better job of advertising our webinar,
Yeah, and
guys.
people think they're talking to me here. It's like
I know. This is we should tell them more that okay. AgentLocator.ca is the website. The system costs $158.95 a month. That includes us doing management for you on Google. So if you spend, let's say, $250 a month on Google, you pay us $158.95 a month. That's your complete cost of your entire system. It includes everything that you need. It includes the SMS system that's inside, the dialing system, and pretty much everything you need. So that is the cost, and I hope that answers the question. Anybody that wants to get a demo, if you go to agentlocator.ca and click on this book a demo, submit that form, and we'll contact you and give you a live demonstration of what it is that we're talking about. We have no contract, so if you guys don't like internet leads, we don't want you to be paying for something that doesn't make sense for you. So yeah, I hope that answers those questions that are about where and how. All right,
are you gonna say, but if you call now, no.
don't all call at the same time. Or what's good? Okay,
I have
so
a couple Facebook questions here.
Okay.
So Michael Taylor is asking, he's always hesitant to call a lead right away. He likes to give them a little bit of time on the site to see what they're looking at. Should he call right away or give time? Like, what's your approach, Alfred?
I used to do that. I used to always in the beginning. I was nervous, so I wouldn't call right away. I'd give them time. That would be my excuse, right? Let me just see what they're looking at, and when they click something they like or they book a showing, I'll reach out to them. It doesn't work. You need to call them right away. You need to, even if it's just to introduce yourself. Hey, my name is Matt. I noticed you've been just taking a look around. Listen, take the time you need. If you have any questions, this is my number. You can always reach me directly, and then shoot them a quick text message. Hey, it was nice chatting with you. This is my direct line if you ever want to call me. That text message, at least it's in their phone. Who was that guy again? Oh, I think his name was Alfred. They'll search for me and they'll find me. They'll send me a text message, right? So.
Yeah, it would be good. I mean, right now our system has a pre-built SMS, so that means when that lead comes in, the system will automatically send that SMS message. Or if you want to customize that message, you can customize that message to say whatever you want. Or if you want to add other steps into this, well, you guys actually can't see my screen, so it's like I'm showing things, but you're not seeing it. But it's okay. But the system does have an automated SMS built into it so that it will contact a lead for you, but you should also be calling it. If they don't respond to that message, you should also be calling it. Or if you have the ability to call them before that 5-minute timeline, you should definitely call them as well. All right, another question was budget. We answered that question. Robert Jansen's, the budget that Alfred is on right now is $1,000 a month on Google. All right. Are virtual open houses a thing now after the pandemic? Are open virtual houses a thing now after pandemic? So this is a question by Ernesto Hansen, and the question is really, do you think that virtual open houses are going to be a thing now after the pandemic's over?
This is what everybody's trying to lean towards, and everybody's trying to say it's got to go virtual. So start spending your money on doing virtual tours and online stuff because no one wants to go see homes. Is it going to continue? I think, to be honest, I think still people, when they buy a home, I think people would prefer to much rather go to an open house and actually see the house than, face to face than rather on virtual. So will it be a thing going forward? To some, but the majority will still like to go out.
Right.
Yeah. That's just my opinion. Again,
I think so as well. Yeah, I mean, the home buying process really isn't something that people want to do virtually. They're forced now into it, especially those that have to make that purchase right now. And they're the ones that are doing it. They have no other option, and that's the only thing they can do. And if that's the case, then yes. But I really don't see that being a thing after the pandemic's over in any way, shape, or form. I think people really want to go out and get to see the property. Crystal, do you have any questions on Facebook that we haven't answered?
I have one more. So Sheldon Coxer here, he gets a lot of out-of-town clients, meaning like more or less out-of-province clients. Are you seeing the same thing on your end? And how do you treat those leads any differently than somebody that is local?
I used to get out of town prospects a lot when I was advertising pre-construction, but on the resale market, not that many, I would say, not at least on my end. I guess maybe they're not looking in Vaughan. I guess they're looking more in Toronto, and maybe in Toronto you're getting a lot more people coming from different provinces and such. But yeah, not from my leads. My leads that are looking are mostly all here.
Okay. Another question from Anthony Berducci. If a lead comes in and is looking to buy in the future, would you ask the client to sign a buyer rep agreement?
No, I've never done this. Some people think I'm an idiot for doing it. You got to build trust. You got to build trust. And at the end of the day, even my broker says, maybe you should get it. Well, they say, get it signed, but I never do. We go out, we build if they want to leave me, they can leave me. If I want to leave them, I can leave them. There's no commitments on my end.
Right.
I do sign one as soon as we put an offer in, and I tell them it's mandatory because of RICO, and then I have it from then on in, right? So
right. And I think it's filling it out from a client perspective. If you have a client that's, telling you, about signing it, but if you feel that if you mention it to them that it's just going to push them away, or if you ask for it at the right or wrong time, I've seen this many times happen with an agent that, they're asking him to sign a BRA before they've even presented and shown any value whatsoever.
Exactly.
Your value, you have to be able to show value before you ask them to sign a BRA. It would be like us telling you, buy our stuff before I even show you what it's like. Right? You're not going to buy it. That's just not. There's no way. So I think that's just really understanding the stage that we're in, and when to really pop that question is a skill in itself. The next two questions are really kind of combined. This was a question or more of a statement by John Papaloni, and then a question by Christopher Battori. And it's more of saying, so John mentioned, I disagree with the June outlook because Trudeau extended CERB payment to October. I think that indicates the possibility that it might last longer. But he says, I do agree that we will get back to it once things get stable. So that's just from that perspective, an outlook that, yeah. Trudeau, in terms of what he has said. Awesome. Anything else on your side, Crystal, that?
Sorry, I had myself muted. No, just someone just asking a question about our pricing. Okay. So far.
Awesome. Mary Circua. I told you guys I'm horrible at names. An immigrant, a true immigrant. So Crystal, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. Do you find Google ads have better conversion than Facebook ads? So Mary, and we talked a little bit about it. I can't remember, and I don't remember, Alfred, truthfully, have we had you on Facebook leads yet? And if so, can you talk a little bit about it?
The only thing I've done with AgentLocator is Google. I've used an outsource for Facebook leads, and definitely the Googles are better than the Facebook. What did I just say? Did I just say the Googles? I think that the Google leads are, like you said before, a little more qualified, knowing what they want. And I found that with Facebook leads, I was getting even though they were clicking in Toronto, they were looking for Cambridge, they just didn't get that aspect of things, right? So.
Okay. Nikki DeVere, I'm a new realtor and I just started with online leads this week. I've been calling all my leads in a timely manner, but noticing it's hard to through. I guess it's hard to get through. If you follow up by email after you try calling, do you personalize each email and do you get many responses? So before Alfred mentions anything here, you don't want to be spending a ton of time personalizing emails to your leads, because remember, the quality of these internet leads is fairly low. So the idea is get through as many as you can, as fast as you can, to get to the few that are actually good. Now, I do have to mention that since Nikki is a brand new realtor, I'm guessing your budget is a little bit lower. So you may be spending, because you have that time right now, you may be spending more time on each lead individually to try to get through them and maybe get your quality up a little bit. And you could definitely try that if you have the time to do that. But Nikki, don't make it a habit. When you start getting a lot more leads, or when you've been on the system long enough where you've got a good amount of leads inside the system, it's best not to really spend a ton of time per lead. So I hope that answers that question. I know, Alfred, you don't customize your emails on each lead that comes in individually, especially if they don't respond. If they're not communicating with Alfred, he's not spending a ton of time working on that lead.
Only if they do reach out to me and if we do connect, then they become personalized.
Yeah. Awesome. What is your farm area? Is it very dense with many realtors who are also buying leads? Does the quality of number of leads decrease? So he's not doing the leads directly in his farm area. In fact, when you try to do lead generation in a very small area, it's generally very hard. Not a lot of leads come into a very small area. In fact, you need to put in a bunch of smaller areas to do that. Yeah, I don't know if you want to add anything on that.
No, I mix it up as well because sometimes you just never know. So I've done leads in Vaughan, just to see where the money is and how kind of quality I'm getting. Then I do like Aurora, Bradford, or I'll do Toronto, or I'll do I mix it up a little bit, right? So I constantly get that changed.
Yeah. Doug Monet is asking, do you ever delete leads? So do you ever delete leads?
I only delete a lead if their phone number and their email are bad. That's the only time I'll delete a lead. So if I don't get, if the email comes back and it bounces, if the phone is bounced, it's gone. If not, what I do with them is they stay in my CRM because every once in a while, sometimes I do a mass campaign where, I'll be asking them to maybe follow me on social media. So I want to have that email in there, even though they've never looked.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, so I just want to add on to that. You should never, ever delete a lead at all. And the reason why you should never want to delete a lead is I also want to know how many bad leads have I had come in. So because you can go into CRM and say, give me all the leads that are essentially garbage. You can set the pipeline of the lead to garbage. But I want to know out of 100 leads I got, how many leads were garbage that month?
Gotcha. Yeah,
and then progressively every month, are my garbage leads increasing? Am I getting more garbage leads or am I getting less garbage leads? So if you delete the leads, you'll never know because it's not going to be inside your system. But if you remain them, keep them there, you can know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point.
Thank you. All right. I hope that answers your question. This is Sherry Baker. I live in a resort community and my demographic of leads is from all over the world. I can't always call them right away because they are not in my time zone. Suggestions on how to deal with this. So different time zone. This is Sherry is generating leads, I'm guessing, in completely different time zones, and you want to give them a call, but they're not in your time zone. You don't want to call them right away. Now, I can tell you this. If a lead, let's say right now, it's 1:44, and a lead comes in at this very moment, if it's somewhere where I'm supposed to call 10 p.m. at night, I would call that lead right now because of the fact that they just submitted that lead. That means they're on their computer at that time. Even though it's 10 p.m., call them. Now, when do you cross that time? If a lead comes in at 12 in the morning, 12 a.m., would you call them? No. Yeah. Alfred?
I wouldn't. Not at that time. 10 o'clock is the cutoff for me.
Yeah.
In terms of different timelines, I have a listing out right now that I advertised on Juwai.com.
Right.
It's a Chinese advertising company behind the Great Wall. And the leads that come in, they're on a 12-hour difference, right? Like whatever time it's here, what time is it now? 1:30?
1:45. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1:45 in the morning there. So it's basically, it's best that I do because of the time zones, I'm always on email. I don't even bother calling them because it's not gonna make sense. When he's awake, I'm sleeping. When he's sleeping, I'm awake. So it's all email.
Try to communicate by email as much as possible at that point. Okay, great. And just so you guys know as well, pre-built into our system is a mechanism for delaying the automated SMS. So if a lead comes in, let's say at 12 o'clock in the morning, and you don't want your system sending messages from 12 in the morning to let's say 8 in the morning, the system will wait until 8 in the morning to send that message out. So that's something that's already pre-built into the platform for those that don't want to be bothering people at 2 o'clock in the morning because when they submit a lead. Have you ever worked with AL, refine your search? Have you specified targeted an area of or property type? So Jonathan Paulson, this is a question where you're asking, have we created refined areas? For example, we want to target very small communities or property types. We've definitely done campaigns, like for example, if you want to target only campaigns in Toronto that are, let's say downtown Toronto, that are condos, we can definitely do that. If you want to target, let's say Leslieville only, it doesn't make sense just targeting Leslieville. You do need to create a few other communities around there so that you can get a little bit of a quantity. So I hope that answers your question, Alfred. Yeah.
How would you target just that little demographic? Is that people looking to live in Leslie, or are you targeting the people who live in Leslie?
People looking to live in Leslie. So people that are actually searching for properties in Leslie. But what happens is that less people start their search that way. More people start their search looking for a home in Toronto and then narrow down their search from there. But there are some people that start their search by looking for a property in Leslieville. And that is something we do have the ability to do. But again, you should do 2, 3, 4 of these areas, not just 1 or 2. All right. Also, booking appointments is often not possible in a short time frame. So this is sharing as well. Booking appointments is not possible. Any questions on your side, Crystal? That God, this list is huge with questions. There's a lot of questions on here.
I know there's so many on there.
On chat. Are you looking on chat or just Q&A? On chat, I saw a couple of questions.
Q&A, but if you got some questions on chat that you want to answer, go ahead. I actually am not even looking at chat.
Yeah, chat has a question.
Okay,
there's a couple of them. Yeah. So Urish it's also in the Q&A. I think he's wondering, how are you showing properties during COVID? Like, what's your strategy on that?
Well, right now, to be completely honest, I have only one buyer who was pre-COVID that we're still showing houses to, and again, I have 2 rules, for people who want to see houses right now. It's one is they have to make sure they haven't been out of the country. They haven't been exposed to someone, all your typical stuff, right? They haven't exposed someone with COVID. They're not showing symptoms themselves, etc. And 2 is they got to call me. They got to say, Alfred, this is my dream house. It's in the right pocket. It's on that street that I love. It has everything I want. At that point, we'll go out and we'll take a look. If they want me to show them 5 houses in the same day, it's not going to happen. It's just, I'd rather stay safe and keep my clients safe than take them out to 5. If they love a property, great. I'll take them out, no problem. And that's what I'm doing with this lead that I have. That was pre-COVID. Have I taken out any new ones since this whole thing, after all of them? No, there's no one. Everybody wants to wait. Everybody says, I'm looking now, but it's great. But let's just hold on, see how things go, and then we'll pick up. And now at this point, we got to keep on nurturing. Make sure you don't lose them, right? So constant text messages, give them emails, call them every once in a while, see how they're doing. So
right. Yeah. So I do have some clients that have shown properties. And it's the same scenario as Alfred's mentioned. Really verifying that they're truly, in fact, looking, and they're not showing him multiple properties at the same time. They're really narrowing down. What they'll actually do is they give him 5 properties. What he does is he gets in a Zoom call with them and then reviews those properties by looking at the pictures together with them and then explaining things to them on the phone, where they're then discrediting some of the properties, saying that, okay, this one may not be fit because of these things. So that's another thing that you can definitely do. Get on a Zoom call with them, or a Skype call, or Zoom is free right now, guys. So for those of you that want to utilize Zoom, I think 45 minutes is the session max. After 45 minutes, you basically have to cut it off and start it again. But you could use Zoom for free, really, to do a lot of that. And honestly, you can answer a lot of their questions through a Zoom call. It's they don't necessarily need to see every property, and they could disqualify a lot of those properties when you do that with a Zoom call. All right.
There's a couple of questions. Sorry, there's a couple of questions I could answer that are kind of combined. So leads that are unresponsive, but let's say they are still opening listings all the time, but you can never seem to get a hold of them. How would you try to get a hold of them? Are you leaving voice messages? Are you sending text? Or are you just kind of leaving that lead, just kind of ignoring them because they're ignoring you back?
Well, like Adel mentioned earlier, 3 to 5 times. Sometimes I'm at 3, sometimes I take it to 5, depending, the time I was calling at. And if they don't respond, they're not going to. You can try, you can keep them, you can continue to market to them, you can continue the system. If they came in through Google and they looked, they're probably on an automatic. The system is sending them emails in the background for listings, so they're looking at that. And then if maybe, if you notice later on when you're going through your active leads and you see that they're on and they're searching, they've been on recently, you can try again at that time, picking up the phone since they're online. if you catch them online, see if they pick up. Yeah, you can do it, but I wouldn't waste too much time in the beginning. Like, you know, so you just have to move on. You have to continue going to the next lead.
Yeah, the idea is to get through the leads as fast as you can. I mean, again, if you have that time, because you don't have a lot of leads coming in, and if you are not doing anything else to actually lead generate, then spend that time, but don't make it a habit, because once you get a lot of leads coming in, it's just, there's no way that you're going to be able to follow up with all of them properly.
And I'm going to add to that now, because of COVID. At this time now, it's the pipeline's bigger than it's ever been before. It's because leads are coming in, and now I'm talking to them, but I'm not taking them out. So are they becoming hot leads to me? Do I know if they're serious? I have to take it for granted that they are a serious buyer. So I got to continue to nurture them. I got to continue to call them and text them. And if I don't do that, I'll lose them. So it's, you know, I have like 53 people I'm talking to right now that I haven't shown a house to yet. What's going to happen when this is all said and done? You know, am I going to be able to service all these 53 that I've been talking to? Probably not. I'm probably going to end up referring a lot of this business out, because I'm by myself. I don't have a team. It's just, it's going to be, it's a good thing to have. It's not a bad problem. It's a great problem to have. But this is what happens in this market. It's just you're nurturing, spending a lot of time. But at the end of the day, I'm not being able to filter those out or go show them houses, right?
It's that building a pipeline. I mean, in a sales job, in any sales job, we are building our pipeline for that future deals that we're going to have. And especially in real estate, you know, you're not going to get a lead today and close it tomorrow. That's not going to happen. It happens on occasion sometimes, but you got to build that pipeline. Now, 53 leads in a pipeline is a lot of leads to have. And there's no way that Alfred is going to be able to handle all those 53 leads. And honestly, you know what, build a team, man. I mean, that's your time to build a team and start getting some people on, so that once that time comes around and you're capable, but don't not follow up with them. Help and answer their questions like he's been doing. And there was a question that said, for the $1,000 budget you have, how many leads are you getting per month for the $1,000 that you're spending?
It's about I would say close to 100. You know?
Okay, so about $10 a lead is the cost per lead right now for Alfred. And that's right now. You said you're doing Vaughan, right, or Toronto?
I mixed it up.
Mixed it up. Okay, yeah, awesome. A lot of the questions that I'm going through here are kind of the same questions that we answered already. So it's not really different questions. They're just same questions formed in different ways. Unless there's something else that you guys see.
Have you gone to chat yet?
I haven't looked at chat all the way, but let's actually take a little. Let me go through some of the chat. Are you seeing one that I haven't answered? Okay, this is Dion, writer with Royal LePage Connect. I work with it. Well, let me see if just recently.
Hey, that's one of our sister properties.
Yeah. Right. Someone worked for a couple of years, helped the buying state recently. I hope that this is a public question. Let's actually, I'm going to read it out as it's here. So I think it's about a deal that fell through. I don't know exactly. This is Dion, writer with Witter, Dion Witter with Royal LePage Connect. I work with Trust. I work from Trust as well, and recently backfired someone I worked with for a couple of years, and I helped them get to the buying stage. Recently went out with another agent and put through an offer with that person. She wanted to go out during the heights of COVID. We had discussed waiting, and still she went out with someone else. I called Rico thinking Implied Connect would work, but regrettably it does not. So this is just a statement from Dion, which is, you know, this is a client that clearly intended to buy during the COVID-19 issues that they've been happening. We've seen it happen. In fact, we've actually seen it happen with our clients. Some of the agents that said they got a lead that said, I want to go look at properties immediately, and they serviced that lead. The best response that I've had from some of our clients that I've talked to that said, you know what, I don't want to show properties to people right now because I don't feel safe. If you don't feel safe, and if your client truly wants to look at properties, and you know for a fact that they want to buy a property right now, it's probably best to refer it out to somebody, because they're most likely going to do what's been done here, which is really go out and look at properties than anybody else. And I'm sorry that happened to you, Dion. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Right. This is the lead as well. Another question for the lead. You're building a database. Thank you. What is the URL for a trial of lead site? Michelle, it's if you go to AgentLocator.ca, you can get a demo. We don't have a trial lead website that we put out there. the system is really sophisticated, which is great. Do you have a coaching program or something like that to help people like me leverage better? I know you have lots of recorded webinars, looking for a little more. So Mike, to answer your question on that, there's one process that we've changed in terms of helping our clients on board, especially when it comes to lead generation. Right now, what we're doing is nobody is going live on leads until we've had a demo with you one-on-one, where we'll actually show you how the system works. We'll make sure you understand when the lead comes in, how their system responds to them, what you're supposed to do. And then not only that, but we do not leave you just on that. Once the leads start coming in, our trainers, Crystal is actually the head trainer that we have 4 trainers, and what they'll actually do is they are going to do 4 follow-up calls with you. What they do is each week after that, they do a video check-in where they go log into your CRM and say, Alfred, I see you're doing this, which is great. You're communicating with leads. However, you're forgetting to do this, this, and this. You need to be doing more of that. If you forgot how to do it, let me know. We'll jump on another webinar. And it's a one-on-one webinar to show you how to do that. So we don't just leave you and say, here, figure it out. We do make sure that you are successful, because let's remember, we have no contracts. You can leave anytime you want. If you get on the system and if you don't like it, we can't make money. So if we can't help you make money, we won't be able to make money. So that's what we realized. We started doing this about a year ago. So that's something that doesn't cost anything extra. We do this just when you onboard at the same price, and everybody can take advantage of that. Alfred, I truly don't want to take much more of your time. You have been incredible. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us. As always, all the best to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. If I don't think, Crystal, you don't have anything else either, do you?
Nope. Tomorrow we are doing the webinar on just an open Q&A. Really, that's what tomorrow is going to be. I'm just configuring next week, so I think Monday we might dedicate specifically to email campaigns, because there seems to be a lot of our clients that are having questions surrounding that, and having a system where you can just set it, forget it, to help you with your follow-ups and manage your database. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Mike Wells says, wonderful discussion. I learned a lot today. So thank you for that, Mike. We're really glad that you guys got as much as you can out of this. Alfred, again, you have been incredible. You said you're not good on camera. Now you're better on camera. Now, you know what?
I hate this whole thing. You owe me now. Like, and let me know the social media call, because I'm in, so.
Yeah. Definitely.
We're going to see Alfred now running his own webinars and lives. And
not for me. Not for me.
You got to get out there.
I'm very reserved. I'm very quiet. I like to keep things to myself, and I'm doing this because you came through for me a lot, Ado, and I'd like to pay you back. So this is good.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Alfred. I really do. And to all of you, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. Wish you guys all the best, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.